legends.
Welcome to the Beyond Football podcast.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, like excited to be here. Man. Just want to say that I've been watching you guys. I saw you had Amari on here the other week, and yeah, man, I love what you're doing, and thank you for having me. Honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You're one of the positions in football where it's most scrutinised, especially recently with FIFA laws. These people have just been getting done for a lot of things, not treating players right, conflict between players and clubs, helping players actually make a career or actually break it and take everything away from them. So yeah, it's good to have an insight from an agent and obviously your journey in football and how that's influenced you.
Yeah. It's been a lot of changes in football. I don't think a lot of people realise just how COVID really affected and damaged football from a financial point of view, but also from a swing of power. Clubs knew at that point players were going to be like literally desperate. And a lot of them took advantage of that. I saw it personally, you know. It was that year particularly, I spoke to a lot of players who were like, yeah, I spoke to this club and they said they'll send me an offer, and basically I have never heard from them again, or it was like months down the line, yeah, sorry, we moved on. So many top tier players that had injuries or whatever it was. If you didn't play, you were at risk that season, massively. And I guess you boys know yourself, you know, like 100%. From your friends as well. That year was hard. Yeah. I remember at the end of that window, I had this release of just everything. That's all I can say, just everything. It was mad because it was extended as well, if you remember correctly. Which again was great from a point of view from an agent, like, okay, we've got more time to make money. But at the same time, it just felt like it was never ending. And we were in lockdown and just closed in and man, it was mad. But football's a great industry to be in.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm just out of interest, rewinding all the way back to the beginning for you, where does football start? Where does it pop up in your life? And what does the early years kind of look like for Jay, you know?
Well, I did play. I didn't make it professionally. I was coming through Redbridge, so we had Redbridge A, B, C.
Dagenham and Redbridge?
No, it's just Redbridge. This is like the early school days. Yeah. You had Redbridge as a county, and then like you had the district team. Being real, I was okay. Yeah, I did my thing on the right wing. I got them balls in. I was in the right places at the right time to nick them goals. But I didn't work hard enough. Genuinely, I know that I didn't work hard enough. And anytime I even think about stories from football, I think about this one time when we're playing this game, right? And I think I was putting like right back or something, or right in defence anyway. Yeah. And I just remember the game's like played up there and I'm like this on the pitch. And all I can hear is, Jay! And I'm in the world of my own. I look over, it's my manager, right? And, and all he does, he goes, get on the fucking pitch, right? And I was like, football, loved it. But I think that for me, I didn't make it. I wasn't willing to work hard enough. Looking back, I don't ever feel that I believed I was good enough. I feel like that's something just that was within me at that age. And once you start mixing in different circles, and I got banned. Mumsy banned me for a year because I ran up a £300 phone bill on the house phone at them times there. The mobiles weren't really popular the way they are right now, right? And it's £300 bill talking to my girl who at the time, and my mum was like, "You're not playing for a year," and then that was pretty much it for me. Pretty much it. But I've always loved football. I've always watched football. I'm a Man United fan.
Keep having these Man United fans in, bro.
The best type of people. That's
I
why
don't
I
know.
operate with
I
people
don't
who do that.
know
You know,
that.
high level people,
Oh, here we
excellent
go.
people who support Man United.
Exactly. Although
It's simple.
Okay.
we're really struggling at a minute as a club, and it's painful to watch them. But I love my team. My whole family support them. You know.
You going to the final this weekend?
Nah, I'm not going to. No, I'm not gonna put myself through it, to be honest. You know.
You don't believe in us?
No, I don't at the minute. I'll be honest. I
love
believe
honesty,
in
man.
certain individuals in that team, but as a club, I don't believe in us at the minute. You know, and this is how, again, I think being in football now has shown me and taught me a much different perspective of how I used to watch football before I was in it like this. Because before, I'd be like, yeah, it's for my team, but I don't send any of my players into a club that's being run how Manchester United is kind of being run at the minute.
Wow.
And listen, Man United and League One and Championship, there's levels, yeah? But you've got to look at it in terms of, I believe in top-bottom management, yeah? If it's not working up there, how is that trickling down? Yeah? Wow. And we're seeing that on the pitch, I feel. Although there's individuals that are leading the way, internally, you know, it's not been good. And I feel for Ten Hag, actually, because I don't feel that he actually signed the players that he wanted, you know, and then this all goes back with John Murta and all these different things. But in the end, I want to move to a player to United, so
you gotta be careful there.
I'm not go too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, football, love it. Love being involved in it, boys.
No, it's good. It's good.
That's amazing. And talk us through, like, why do you think you didn't work hard enough?
I think it's mindset. I think it was, again, without knowing at that age, probably what my insecurities were in terms of not believing in myself, you know? And then in order to be a professional sportsman or woman, it comes with sacrifices. You boys sacrifice so much to get to where you are and to achieve such levels. And I wasn't willing to even do the extra yards, you know, I really wasn't. So therefore, like, I feel like that's probably a big part of the reason why I didn't kick on. I didn't kick on. It wasn't love or anything like that. And then you know what? In every part of football, you have internal politics. So my teammates, when I moved from Redbridge to Sarvik and I was at Leyton Orient for a bit, I don't think I really got on with people that well, you know? Like, I hadn't evolved as an individual in myself, you know? So, yeah, a variety of reasons. But in the end, I just didn't cut the mustard, boys, you know? I don't make excuses for anything. I always say excuses sound best to those that make them, right? You know what I mean? In the end, I didn't put in the work. I didn't graft. But this is why I love being able to teach my boys what not to do.
Yeah.
You know? I always let anyone I'm meeting know that, you know, you can't pull the wool over my eyes in anything. Transparency and consistency, you know, well, consistency, most importantly, is the key to success, right? Transparency with me as your agent, it's got to be there, because in the end, these are your life choices, you know? I am not going to be a person who shelters anybody or tries to, you know, kind of wrap them and just be this guy that's all over them. You got to live your life. But what I let people know is that I'm here to support you. I'm here to be your crutch and support mechanism so that when you fall, you've got someone to lean on and catch you. You know?
It's interesting because I guess the role that you're in now, which we'll definitely come on to in a little bit more detail, you feel like your early stages has prepared you, you know, to be the type of agent that you are.
Absolutely.
Can you give us maybe 2 or 3 stories that click to say, I went through this and this is what has kind of prepared me or shaped me to be the agent that you are today, you know, supporting players? if you got a couple, you know.
Yeah, well.
Like significant moments where you're like.
In football specifically or just my life?
Just in life in general, you know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I feel like in my life I made a lot of wrong choices and decisions, and on the back of that, you know, when Mumsy might tell you, no, it's time to get out of the house. You're fending for yourself, you know? But that was my reality, you know? So, yeah, definitely being out on the cold. Definitely early rejections in, you know, I'm a person who came the working man environment. So I remember one time I went for about 5 interviews in a space of a month, because I've always been a hustler, right? I've always been a grafter. Went to these 5 interviews and I'm walking out there thinking, got these. Didn't get any of them, right? And that comes with a rejection, you know? Even down to, you know, fatherhood relationships, you know? Listen, I know who my dad is and everything like that, but, you know, he wasn't present in my life, if I'm being real. Do you know what I mean? And there comes rejections with that, you know? Listen, I mean, I'll tell you, man, a story. I have to think about where I want it put out like that. Yeah, you know, I remember I got kicked out of my house once, bro. And my mum was like, you know, come out, basically, yeah? And I'm like, oh, I'll call my dad then, yeah? Call dad up. I'm like, Dad, I'm being kicked out. Can I come stay at yours? He's told me no. Yeah, he's told me no, like, you know, making up all these excuses. And I'm like 14 at this point. And I'm like, but Dad, like, I want to be by myself and like out on roads. No, like, you can't stay here, son. You can't. And I've never felt a rejection quite like that, to be honest, right? But this is why genuinely, when I call a club, you think I'm bothered about someone telling me, oh, you know, we said no to him or what? Mate, I felt the worst rejection from my family, yeah? And genuinely, that is one story that has definitely shaped me with dealing with rejection, right? Because, and again, you gotta be thick-skinned, yeah? But I feel like those were mainly the experiences that I went through in my life personally that have shaped me to be an agent. They were tests of character and really being rock bottom and alone, and I guess slightly confused by what direction I wanted to go in, right? You always dream of being a footballer and playing at Wembley and all these things, and then from a very, very early point on in my life, I knew that wasn't going to happen. But then what do I want to do? Do I want to do singing? Do I want to do acting? And Mumsy's like, no, like,
you better keep your mouth quiet.
Yeah, this is not going to pay, Jay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what are you talking about? Go learn a trade. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to learn a trade. Yeah, I've got other talents. Yeah, but it's that thing of being realistic, innit?
That's it.
But listen, I've been through real tests of character at an early age, you know, and this is what shaped me to do my job so well. Definitely.
You talk about the irony of comfortability. If you don't go through hard stuff, you can't build hard skin. If you don't break down a muscle, lift heavier weights, you don't build a bigger muscle. Yeah, but so it's just
But most people are doing everything to avoid bad experiences.
Exactly, it's because people are, I would say, is similar to the idea of failure, and then their thought of stems from insecurity and a wrong propaganda. Like, the system is just rigged. It's the same where education system rigged. They're telling everyone to get into debt. House system rigged. They're telling everyone to get into debt, have their mortgage, be stuck in one house. But these are all the things that are common in society. But if you don't really understand it and actually do your research into it, you need to go against the grain and do what's opposite. They say, so in terms of failure, you have to fail big. It's juxtaposition. It's irony. Because it's the complete opposite of what you think you should do. We spoke about it earlier on, where it's biblical. It says, if you want to save your life, you must lose it. You must give it away.
But it's so interesting, because it is something we go back and forth about, to say, as you're developing players, when you talk about things that shaped you, oftentimes we want to protect them completely from it, you know. But if someone hasn't actually lived through something, you can tell them. But if they haven't got that true, authentic experience like you're sharing, you can't. There's no reference point for you. It's just, he said this, but it don't really hit home. The penny don't drop. So it's like, how do you find that balance of preparing? And it's always something I think about, that how do people get to the successful roles that they've got to? There must be a point where they've picked up all of these skills that they need to put into practice, and it has to hit home somehow, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
You know what? Honestly, both of those, that kind of topics in themselves, right? Because being comfortable and not wanting to fail is a reflection of one's insecurity, really, in order that you no one wants to get knocked down. But at the same time, as you say, how are you going to know whether you've got that resilience to keep getting back up 4 or 5 times if you don't want to get knocked down the one time? Yeah. And then in terms of just that inner belief, I guess, in oneself, I don't know, bro. Like, people are built differently. Do you know what I mean? And
nature, nurture.
I guess this is why genuinely a lot of the players that I work with, I do have a mental connection with in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Because we understand each other. There's not many people you can sit and talk on this level of depth with. And being in my position, in terms of someone who, I'm very humble with my successes, you know? There's so much more I want to achieve and so much more I want to do. But I know that people look up to me in terms of what I have achieved. And there's no success book out there in terms of this is what you've got to do, this is how many times you've got to fall down. All I can say is you're going to go through different motions in life. You're going to go through different experiences. And I always say, if you can't learn from your own mistakes, learn from someone else's. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Look at other people in terms of the decisions that they've made and where it's got them. I can say openly, when I was younger, I was homeless a lot, you know. Do you know what I mean? And spent a lot of time out on the streets. And this is why, genuinely, when I'm going through a train station or walking outside on Oxford Street, I don't ignore homeless people, you know, because one mistake is all we all need to make, and we can end up there.
Like that. Wow. Yeah.
Just like that, you know? So... listen, it took a lot for me to get here. I'm still not where I want to be. I think the main thing with me is that I just stayed consistent with what my goal was. I didn't let money dictate as to whether I was going to continue or not. And I moved strategically with every decision I made in terms of where I was going and where it would land me next.
That's good.
Yeah.
And again, this is why it links back so perfectly to football.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about that move that's next. It's about where that move is then going to take you.
Your career.
Yeah.
Not just that big payout and paycheck that a lot of agents get obviously is done for doing, just focusing on that one big move and then just leaving the player.
I've seen it all the time. I've seen it all the time. The ones who don't care, and they're transactional agents, yeah? And listen, if that is what you are and you present yourself as that, absolutely fine, because everyone knows to deal with that. But naturally, I'm not here for the one hits, yeah? I'm a long-term brother with long-term dreams and aspirations, and if I'm approaching you and want to work with you, it's because ideally I want to see it out through the rest of your career, you know? That's my vulnerabilities that I give, you know? And it's not easy to be vulnerable in any walks of life, let alone football, right? You know,
takes a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that's another juxtaposition and irony, because vulnerability is something that's soft. So some people think, oh, it's easy to do that.
It's weakness.
But then it's actually hard. It's a form of strength to be weak. So it's quite funny. But then I wanted to go into those like early stages of you actually breaking into the agency world, because I know a lot of people, like footballers, they want to transition into becoming like an agent, the old contacts, all of that. But a lot of them like looking for work experience, but they don't know where to start, especially now with the new qualification out. They have to get. How was that process?
Breaking into the agency, mate. It was, looking back, so I've been in this game for 10 years now.
10, wow.
10 years. And I remember this started off as I just had a dream of being an agent, you know. I'd been out with a few people, a few of my boys from back in the ends had kicked on, and, you know, eventually our circles all aligned, and it opened me up in terms of my thinking. But the fact is, I didn't know any players properly. I didn't know any clubs. I didn't have a license, because back then you had to have a license. So I didn't have that. And I'd never seen a deal in my life. Right? So, but I wanted to be an agent. So I had to strip it all back and start from point one and go through a process. So it was like, okay, the boys I did know, let me have a chat with their agents. Had a chat with them. They then introduced me to other people. And one man who I have to shout out every time is David Seligman, who works for Brand Smith as a sports lawyer.
Yesterday.
Don't know.
Where was you guys at?
The sports law conference.
Oh, you might have been.
Yeah, I think I've seen him. I think I spoke to him. Yeah.
David said, listen, David, top guy.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him in the very start, I doubt I'd even be in football. I was introduced to him through somebody else. We met, just gave me all his contacts, linked me in with the agency at the time, the company he was working for in sports law and criminal law. And then I kind of just built up from there. I managed my friends. Shout out Marlon. If it wasn't for him linking me with my first player, I wouldn't be sat here. Do you know what I mean? I know this. And it was certain individuals who met me, knew me, and believed in me, you know? But it was me that had to go and show them that it was worth that belief. So breaking into the game was tough, man. I remember I could only get a ticket to Bury. Bury Football Club. They saw me for about a year, mate. Yeah, just like, because I couldn't get a ticket anywhere else.
The humble beginnings.
Yeah, literally. Who was the manager at the time? David Flitcroft and Chris Brass. And then I'm just getting a face around there. And then Tutu's, one of my best friends, was at Fulham. He needed a loan. I knew someone on the board of Bury, made this CV, made it all happen. And these were the early days, bro. Where I'm just trying to jug a thing, really, innit? Do you know what I mean? Right?
It's top, man.
Right? Because I just knew what I wanted to do. Tutus, Chris Brass has called me, interested in Dino, my boy Dino, shout him out. Unfortunately, the deal didn't come to fruition. But that was my first contact at a club now. You know? So then David helped out, gave me some numbers. And then on the back of that, I'm traveling up and down the country. And I'm going to whatever game I can get a ticket to. And I'm waiting till 11, 12 o'clock, whatever time it was, until that manager came out of that door just to say, name's Jay Gordan. Boom. That is it. Next day, I'll call him up. Met you last night. And I literally built it up that way. I really did. But I met some good people. Met some real good people. Then introduced to the first agency that I worked for, 1511 Management, guy Jake Spate.
What's the story behind 1511?
So I was introduced to him through a good friend who works at a football club. He's done top as well, the guy who introduced us. And like we're very alike, me and Jake. We were very alike, but I was a novice. I'll never forget his one meeting, because obviously naturally he's taken a chance on me as well, right? And there was a player particularly that was killing it at West Brom at the time, right? And I'm talking to the uncle, and I've spoke to him on the phone, rare tear. I've gone to a meeting with 1511 now, and Jake's thinking, he's just, yapping basically. Then he gets on the phone to the uncle, walks off for 45 minutes, comes back, like, fucking hell, lads, I think we're actually down the line more than I thought. And then I'm like, I told that, you know what I mean, right? But this was me discovering how good I actually was. I never believed how good I was, if I'm being real, you know? So then I start working for 1511. We've got our agreement, whatever. And then I'm taking non-leaguers to the league, and I'm building my name that way. And then I'm going from League One to Champ. And then I'm overseeing a lot of what Jake's doing, because he's got a couple Prem guys. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I think I was there for 2 years, and I learned so much from Spatey, definitely. And he always kept it real, so I got much respect for that. And when I left, didn't try and make any problems, anything like that, you know. Naturally, things, they come to an end. Was hurt because I probably would like to be there longer, but at the same time, I've gone and I've done a lot since, you know. So that's how that came to an end.
What does 15 and 11 mean?
I think, if I remember correctly, it's his son's birthday.
No way.
Yeah. And that's
Why not?
What industry was he from? Was he like in football mainly, or
he was
was
a
his
football player
background?
himself.
Oh, okay.
Played for Bradford and Mansfield and a couple teams. Sheffield guy. Yeah, man. And we spoke, and I really respected him. Actually, he shouted me out and gave me a call and said, "You know what? See what you're doing." Paid homage. And I respect people like that, you know. So I'm a hearty guy like that, you know. So yeah, kudos.
No, it's good. It's good. No, just as you're speaking, you go back to those early years of transition and them being difficult, you know, because there's a lot of players that are transitioning into whatever they're going to transition into, whether it's agency, coaching. But it seems like those 2 years of training, like you take so much from it, you know. And it's kind of like you're a beginner again. You know what I'm saying? You're an amateur again, and you got to pick up these skills and these tools to be able to do your job properly. But it's a solid foundation, you know. So,
you know, I think a big problem with people is that they think they know it all. You know,
Pride.
And people, they don't want to listen to the things that can improve them, and it's hard to be criticised. I can't say I've historically found it easy to be criticised, but at the same time, I've learned that definitely in like environments like this, when people are on you, when they're shouting at you, when they're digging you, it's because they see something in you, and they're trying to bring that out of you. Definitely,
because I had a experience with that in football where it really hurt me, because I had a goalkeeper coach, well-known goalkeeper coach at West Ham. He was part of the 23s, and I was a young, I think 16, 18 keeper, and I used to train up with him. But he used to be so hard on me.
Too hard.
Just so hard. Every single thing. Like, I have a clean, like, goalkeeping is all about technique, having clean sets, don't drop in anything. But I'll have a clean set, and he'll still pick on the little things that are, and I was just like, it was a point where I just didn't enjoy training, because it's just like, everything is just like, you don't get that positive reinforcement, that positive feedback. But then looking back on it, I was like, he prepared you to have that tough skin, because that's the reality of the world. No one gives you any flowers.
Yeah.
So, but at the time, it was really difficult.
Yeah, but it's I know you're going to jump onto something, but it's the tough love I think every young player needs. And the thing is, we want some things to just be rosy, nice and packaged, but sometimes you need to give it to people real. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially if you see something in them, the only way you're going to draw that out of them is actually taking them right to the edge, you know? And I think sometimes we're too soft on people and they don't reach their full potential because we're too scared of, I'm not saying hurting their feelings. Feelings are important, but sometimes you need to go beyond, you know? And I'm always like, how much is too much? Where do you draw the line? Because if we want to be real with people and really love people, we need to tell them the truth. Absolutely. They're walking down an edge and they're about to fall off the cliff. I said, what, you're not going to tell them because they don't like you shouting at them? I said, bro, you need to make sure they don't fall off the cliff. I said, if they don't like you for 5 years, they need to know the truth, you know? And I think maybe in environment nowadays, you can't tell people the truth enough like that because you're too scared of the relationship might be hurt. I said, sometimes you've got to sacrifice the relationship if you really, truly care about that person 100%. And let them come back to you in 5 years' time and say, thank you for telling me the truth.
With reflection.
Powerful.
And that's actually, you got to think about the type of people that you want in your life and you want around you. You want people who are going to be accountable first and foremost, right? And you want people, I feel, that are reflective. I mean, in your situation as players, especially as London black players, you will come with a reputation. You know what? They will probably give you some attitude back, right? And they're testing you. You have to pass those tests, you know, right? And again, I always let, especially young lads, know these are the tests that you're going to confront. You might do the sickest ball where everyone's like, fucking hell, and he'll say, listen, you ain't done. Hold it, swallow it, get back to work. Done. Pass the test. I think just naturally in the world, everything's soft now, if I'm being real. Do you know what I mean? But that's
the game's gone. That's what I was about to say. That's what they say to us youngsters. Yeah, but the game's gone.
That's why people that are a little bit older, they say it's a different game now. I said back in the day, people have people up in the change room because you're 1-0 down at half time, bro. You can't do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? There's levels, but the thing is, there was a level of care and people sometimes crossing the line, but you knew the standard, you knew the level. But now, I'm not saying that. I just think it's a different game. Let me just put my hands on it and say it's a completely different game.
When you see at half time, everyone's hugging and in the tunnel before the game, everyone's like on the opposite side. When are you about to go into war? It shouldn't be all that, in my opinion. You know, everyone should be locked in, focused. There's a task at hand.
You know, pundit, what's his name?
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane. He hates all of that. Soft, bro. But it's the difference between Gen Z. So you're saying Gen Z are soft?
You just said that.
I never said that.
I didn't hear the question mark.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like as a Gen Z person, you have to be able to tap out of that and develop that strong person. Because I feel like Gen Z with their obviously adaptability, but if they get that toughness as well, they can be very, very successful.
But then what Jay's sharing in terms of the stories that he went through, how do you get that if you're not preparing yourself to go through these things? You know, if you want to prepare for something like an exam, you're going to study. So you're ready for the exam. If the exam is you need resilience, I said you need a tough preparation and revision for that. But if that's not created already, are you going to go and find that resilience? Or you're just not going to have it when time comes? You know, it's one or the other. So if we're making everything too soft and they're not having the skills necessary for men's football, are we allowing environments to create? And that's why we always say you need to have an identity beyond football.
Yes.
Because if you can get all of these skills that football might not give you outside, you're choosing to put yourself into these different... Learning to play the piano, bro, you're not going to learn that in 5 weeks. Similar to if you want to do a 40-yard ping, you're right-footed on your left foot. I said, bro, that's going to take time. So actually putting yourself in scenarios where you can develop the skills necessary for football, men's football, longevity, sustainability, being successful in life, whatever you do outside of football, you need to... You can get all of those skills outside of football, which is necessary for football.
And they will benefit you on the pitch.
Absolutely. Team communication, leadership skills, understanding people. If you want to get the best out of people, you have to understand that we're all different and we all have different, like we tick to different things, you know? So in like player terms, I don't have the same kind of communication that I have with every player like in my roster across the board because we're all different. I have to tell someone a little bit about the bad side of their game, just a little bit softer, but effective with the same approach. There's some who have to sit down and say, listen, you need to fix up, right? This is but what I remind people of, this is your life and your career. I'm getting paid regardless.
Your career,
you know what I mean? And I am going to keep going on an upward trajectory. You can be by my side and we're pushing together, or I can be holding you up for so long until the point in which I let go because, you know, we all need to be pushing at like, in the same way, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, so...
No, it's good.
That's where a lot of players need to take more ownership and not, you know, blame agents saying, my agent was, you know, shit. He didn't do anything. There's definitely... I think a lot of agents need to be called out in terms of what they're actually doing for players genuinely in terms of their work. Because, there's... Like, in the past, my experience has been... There's been difficult experiences, but... Players need to take accountability as well in terms of, okay, cool, how are you building your personal brand, your network, putting yourself in the best position to obviously sell yourself as a player?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But I guess it's drawing the line of where does the agent start and where does the player end and vice versa. Where does the player end and the agent start? So I think if I was to ask you a question, what is the role and responsibility of an agent from your perspective and your experience?
Okay. Good question. Roles and responsibility of an agent is to make sure that everything is sorted from management boot deals to commercial opportunities to a plan structure in terms of how we're going to get you to the destination it is you want to be at. It's all about statistical and analytical data in terms of showing the player, this is what you're producing. These are the statistics compared to the players and the leagues that you want to be at. Here's where you're good at. Here's where you're not so good at. And then everything else kind of comes as a personal touch, because I've got players who, for an example, will move house and sort that out by themselves. I've got players who wouldn't know where to start. So naturally, I'm just here to do everything I can to support you and help you and guide you to get to where you want to be. But this is why I always say my job as a football agent is to facilitate moves and get you financially a package that will change your life and your family's life, and everything that comes with it. But my responsibility as your agent and a man is to teach you how to be a man, because I don't really want a player of mine to be a 40-year-old who doesn't know how to cook an egg. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And I want them to know their social responsibilities in terms of, okay, you might not have signed up to be a role model, but this is what it is, mate, because of the exposure that football has. So if we're going to go out and we're going to make positive change, let's get involved in these charities that you like and that we may have an affiliation with at some point, to some degree, But I take care of everything, man. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely everything that I can. I want the boys to just be fully focused to enhancing their abilities and just putting it all on the pitch, man.
No, it's top. It's top. And one of my big passions is transitioning out of the game. I know Dan's probably got a question to bring it back, but for me, do you think agents do enough for players when they don't make the grade for the agent, if that makes sense? Because I guess I can be working with an agent for 3 years. He might not think I'm good enough or he can do anything for me. If I now don't get another club, do you think the agent should do more? Do you think the agent does enough for a player that's transitioned out the game?
What a question. What a question.
And obviously,
it's a tough one to answer, right? Because I don't know what every agency and agent does. Yeah. I can only talk from a place of experience with me. And I've not had many that I've had to deal with coming out the game. But if anything, this is something that I'm heavily invested in now, So to jump the gun here, but literally, this is everything that I'm looking at now in terms of how can we utilize the PFA and these courses and everything that's accessible to players that a lot of them didn't even know that were there. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. That's the mission, man.
And then on the back of that, let's set a plan in terms of what it looks like for you in your life. What do you enjoy? What feels like free work to you?
Yeah, that's good.
And you'll get paid for it. And if you want to stay in football, okay, let's go and get those UEFA badges and X, Y, Z. Then let's make sure that we're having the right conversations with the coaches that are now existing at clubs that you get on with, and let's tell them about your future plans. Because you've probably, and it depends, age dependent, right? Do you know what I mean? If they've got 2-3 years left in the game, or if they're just coming out, you would like to have thought that a good agent would have had that conversation with them about 5 years before they're due to retire. Do you know what I mean? So that you're not just caught slipping like that, because it's a scary thing. And that's why a lot of players who have just come out and no transition plan turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, they turn to gambling, because now you're not in that setup and that system anymore, So I've not dealt with it too much, but this is something that I'm definitely tapped into and talking about with a few of the boys at the minute.
That's great. And that's amazing, because that's the standard that should be set, in my opinion, with agency, having that holistic development, as well as pushing the... I think so, yeah. That's in terms of where the future is going towards, especially in the rise of the player care role, where they have to have a player care person. So that's what I was going to say. It's a little bit of player care that you guys do quite a lot. So it's tasks like, a person who doesn't know how to help move themselves and stuff like that. That's something like the player care person at a club will help them do.
Right, okay, right.
Yeah.
See, even when my clients have moved, I personally make sure that I touch base with these people so that there's an understanding as to what's needed. And even in negotiations, you know, I'll say, listen, it's a family of four, mate, so we need a house. We need a nice area. We need blah, blah, blah. Can you la, la, la? I make sure that I'm moving all the plates to make it as easy for the player as possible. Yeah. Simple, you know? Yeah. And then if anything else, I mean, listen, I've been removal man. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've been removal man. I'll be whatever is necessary, you know? And I don't ever ask for nothing back. All I ask for is loyalty, commitment. And let's go get these M's. I remember when I joined Omni Sports, I said to him, I sat in the table at a board meeting, and you only ever get the real out of me, you know, like I don't make things up for effect. I sat there and I said to everyone in this room on my first day, I don't know about you lot, but I'm here for the millions. I respect That's what I'm here for.
I respect
right?
That's the level.
So if we're going to get there, let's get to work.
Let's go. Yeah.
Simple.
You know? Let's go. Let's go.
I respect that.
There we go. Fabrizio. But yeah, I was going to say like, there's so much I want to ask because there's a lot of agents. I get a lot of, so I played for Nigeria in the Under-17 World Cup and I get a lot of players like who I played with and that just ask me, please connect me with my agent. They need an opportunity to obviously go from there to here, get into Europe, all of that. There's some young players that are hidden gems, or they just don't have the connections. Like, what would you say to players like that?
You know what? I'm always a guy, actually. I get a lot of DMs.
Yeah.
And people just get my number. But I always try and give that advice, that time, just to say, okay, listen, what's your situation? Where are you at? I can't promise that I can commit to you and your situation, but what I can do is give you some advice, a bit of guidance, what to do. And I always say to them, I'll keep you in mind, because naturally I always get clubs pop up and say, you know, have you got anyone trialists or whatever? Yeah. And I might not speak to these people for a month or two, but as soon as they come in my head, boom, you're in this club this day. Yeah. And once they're in that door, it's down to them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I know that I did my part, you know, because, and I think that just comes from how I was raised. My mum, you know, she's a head teacher, disability specialist at schools, and she raised us four by herself. Yeah, that comes with heart. Do you know what I mean? And most importantly, like, you know, no disrespect to anyone who messages me, but these people can't do anything for me, innit? Do you know what I mean? But I always believe that the true, like, character is how you treat people who can't be beneficial to you. Yeah. That's hard. Like, I hate when people do things for charity and record it, bro. Like, I hate it. Because you know what? Forget the plaudits, man. That's not meant to be for plaudits. That's meant to just be from your heart straight. Genuine. I'm just not about that. Like, and listen, that's no disrespect to anyone who does do that, but I do my charitable things in silence. Unless it's got to do with my son, then that's completely different. Or one of my boys, whatever. Yeah. That's top. So yeah, man.
Yeah. So you guys are all about developing the holistic player, man. But I wanted to find out how, like, all your experiences outside the world of football has helped you in your agent role. So I know when we met at the West Ham alumni event, talk to me about how you graduated. You got a degree in project management, which is quite big. It's a high value skill to have nowadays. You know, all over TikTok I'm seeing, get into project management, Scrum Master. They make like 80K starting salaries and that. How has that helped you in, like, being an agent?
Massively. Again, going to university was never on my radar. I kind of just finished a chapter, and then that was the next one that was presented, and I was like, right, this is what I've got to do. Because I was in construction project management.
Okay, yeah.
So I did my HNC, got that, and then I've gone for an interview with Carillion at the time, who was one of the biggest. And the guy's like, yeah, basically, I like you, Jay. I want to give you a job. But you got to go uni and get this piece of paper. So I was like, right, fuck it. Tell me what I'm going to do. I'll just do it, right? Yeah. And I then went to do 2 years at Salford University in construction project management. I just got through it, man. Do you know what I mean? And I guess the way it's helped me is, first of all, like, I never deemed myself to be fully academic in that sense. I've been out of school and whatever for so long. I was a man on the job.
Yeah.
So then to go into that was hell to me. Do you know what I mean? But I got through it.
Yeah.
I found my why. I found my purpose, and I got through it. And I graduated, and I never thought I'd graduate, to be honest. I think my mum gave up thinking that was going to happen as well, right? Because all my other brothers graduated. So, yeah, in fact, Calvin, my brother Calvin, he's not graduated, but, you know, I never thought I would.
Yeah.
And I did, you know, and it was such an amazing feeling. I shed some tears. And to have my mum there, my brothers there, and my boys there, it was a proud moment. And to turn that into football now, I guess it's just all the you have to organise your life. You have to be organised, man. Do you know what I mean? And that was something I was never good at. So getting organised. And again, construction project management is about different trades throughout 24-story building, high-rise buildings I was working on, right?
Wow.
I have to be responsible for every trade going out of every room, in and out, at a sequence that takes a building internals from there to there, all the way to the top. So naturally, you've got to, first of all, check the quality, health and safety, and you need to make sure that they're doing the job within a time period. That's everything to do with organisation, bro. And this is why when I joined Omni, one of the things my boss said to me is, Jay, look in the diary. You'll see over the next month, there's not one day I haven't got a meeting in. I was like, well, enough said. It's like licking out meeting, you know? So I feel like it links very well. But I'm used to dealing with people. And when you're in construction project management, you have to deal with people, and you have to get people on side to make sure they don't mess up your room.
That's powerful, man.
So, and this is how football is. When you're concluding a deal, people think that it's like back in the day where you just call a manager he wants this, he wants that. No, you got to go sporting director. No, in fact, let's go further down. Chief scout. Then the main scout, chief scout, head of recruitment, sporting director, technical director, chairman, and manager. Really and truly, you need about 5 yeses, And as one man, how are you going to do that? You have to work people. You have to build allies. You have to know where your strengths are. Who likes that player? Cling on to that person, boy. Throw the stats in. Then at the same time, you know what? Don't go over his head, but you know what? Try and get a little chat with the manager. Listen, you talk to Bill because you know what? I know he likes this guy. You know, I can get you him on a free. You have to move all the pieces. That's good. And that's how it gets done. What's it this time? I wonder. We've got 26 seconds.
Yeah, you got 20 seconds.
No,
got to wrap it up quick now.
We got enough time, man. We can still film.
Listen, I'm cool. If you man want to go over, feel free.
That's powerful, man. But it just shows. I feel like that just shows the importance of educating yourself, and just no knowledge is lost. That's something my mum bangs on about. You know, no knowledge is lost. It can help you in developing that range.
Yeah, but it's just constant learning. We were saying earlier today, every day's a school day. Do you know what I mean? Seems like from your journey, you picked up so many different skills that have prepared you for whatever's going to throw its way today. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that I like to normalize. We've all got formal educations and degrees and that. But you don't need a degree to pick up skills.
No,
you
don't.
You can pick up skills through life. You know, life is the best teacher. That's what my dad always used to say. I said, from you going through certain things, you can pick up the skills necessary to be a construction manager or to be an agent or to be a plumber or to be... So it's about the mindset, like you said before. What's your mindset when it comes to the experiences that you're going through and the learnings and the lessons that you're taking from them? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's top, man, because it's...
thank you.
Oftentimes, people feel like you need to be a certain way. I think you just need to think a certain way, you know, and then you can get to wherever you want to get to.
Absolutely.
You know? So that's why I love it when people are just their authentic self and they start to say, I learned this from that. I said, don't you need to only learn it? I said, there's no only learning. You can learn anything from anywhere. Do you know what I'm saying?
From anywhere.
Some people are so surprised. Like, I do quite a lot. Like today I was playing the piano at the school and the head teacher was like, you learned to do that yourself? And I was like, How else would I learn how to do it? Do you get what I'm saying? I don't get why people get so surprised about the fact that you can learn how to and actually upskill yourself without actually going and getting someone to teach you directly.
I think the thing for me with that, right? I think it's because it's a reflection of what their capabilities are.
100%.
An insecurity within themselves, right?
Yeah.
Can you actually do that? Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
You can't. But you actually, if you put your mind to it, you probably could.
Yeah.
But you're not believing. And belief is the strongest thing like you've got to have, man.
Yeah.
I've spent many years in the past not believing myself to my fullest capabilities. But now I can genuinely sit here and say there's not one agent out there who can outwork me.
I love that.
There's not one agent out here
powerful,
who
man.
can think outside the box like me. And what it's taken me in order to sit here and say that so confidently is that I've been in buildings with some of the best agents in the world, bro. Yeah, not even the UK, the world, because I've been getting about. And I've also sat with some of the top head of recruitments, directors of football, sporting directors, and some of them have that thing of being an agent and working their way up. And what I've made sure I've done is sat there and said straight, I want 20 minutes of your time to know how I get to that seat. It's not about the role, it's about the seat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's good.
And you got to look in your environments that you are working in, and you got to look and think, okay, I like that about him, but I don't like that. So I'm going to take that part, but I'm going to leave that part out. Yeah. And you got to do that with everyone that you are around and let it mold you into the best version of you. Yeah. And that's something that I've feel like over the past 18 months, I've been big on self-improvement, self-dedication to be better, not just talk it, but to be it and to feel it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's top. But I think as you're sharing, it comes to a level of humility to say that you haven't arrived yet. You know, you can learn something of someone every single day, every single moment to make you better.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as you were sharing, I just thought it was just amazing, just to know that we've got an opportunity every day to learn from someone. You know, to learn something from someone which we can actually implement ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, to actually get there. But then I was going to ask that level of self-belief. How is it really? Because if someone's listening right now, and you talk about belief, they're saying, oh, maybe Jay's got belief and maybe Toby's got belief, but how do I get this belief, you know?
Good question. It's taken a long time to get here.
You have to go through it, man.
It's taken a long, long time. It's taken a lot of, probably a lot of kind of batterings, to be honest, from people who didn't believe that I could get to where this was. The doubts, the self-doubts, the sleepless nights, the hunger, and I mean literally hunger, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? There's times that I went without, you know, and then I don't know, bro. Like something. The biggest reason I'll probably say why I'm here at this point now is because I, for 2 years, was around a completely different set of people that were brought into my life that came at the right time. And I acknowledged that. I acknowledged that and I embraced that. To the point where all those individuals at Omni, if I'm being real, looked at me and said, you don't believe in yourself. Why? Why do you give a F what people think? What are these things? And actually, they were hard questions to answer. But now I can look back and realize that they were just giving me the keys for me to look within. Do you know what I mean? To open that door and look within and ask myself these questions, you know? And then I just saw how they treated each other compared to how the people that I grew up with, you know, we used to treat each other. It's completely different. And one of the examples I use, right, is you go out to dinner with these guys and it's like, no, I'm paying, right? you know, not really used to that if I'm being real, right? But that's just one example. But it's the time that people gave me. They lifted me. They empowered me. And for me, in a world where everyone's looking to beat someone down and talk crap about each other, gossip, the best feeling for me is to empower someone, man, and let them know you are enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you don't feel enough, you know, so many things like in terms of emotions go through you. And sometimes, and this is why I guess I've got so much empathy to footballers, because I have felt not enough before. Do you know what I mean? And I probably will still in my life, but you're enough, man. You just need to find what that enough is to you and what you've got to do to get to that next level where you feel enough, you know? But I will let every individual know that I'm working with. You're enough, man. Do you know what I mean? Because if you weren't, I won't be working with you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I really, for me, being at Omni for that period really got me to a point of arrival where it lifted me in myself. And I took a lot more than just football lessons from that. I took a lot in terms of like my life, where I wanted to go, how I want to live, and how I want other people to feel around me. You know?
That's top.
That's powerful.
That's
man.
top.
Nah, too many gems. I think this is gonna have to be one of the paid ones on our subscriptions.
Mate, I'm not even wanting to know gossip yet, bro.
Yeah,
like, really,
nah, we're doing part 2. We're gonna be doing the part 2
we
for
should.
sure.
We should, and get into the real juice of deals and broken down deals. And Ian
100%.
Holloway. Listen, there's one story with Ian Holloway. During
Say
the
it quickly,
transfer,
yeah.
Right?
Go true. Might as well end on that.
All right, so, but he mentions drugs, right? So listen, I'm sure you won't mind, right? So I had a player, Montel Gibson, right? Moved in 5 leagues above. I moved him. No, he was playing Izmir Premier League.
Ishmael Premier.
And I moved into League 2 with Grimsby on a 3-year deal in that COVID year. And
he played against us in the FA Cup.
Okay.
What team was he at?
Grimsby.
But no, where did you move him from?
Oh, Howes Owen.
Yeah, Howes Owen. Played him in the FA Cup,
Like 32 goals.
Yeah, he scored against us. It was bad boy still.
Yeah, man. Like, moved him now. And Ian Holloway hadn't seen him. And he comes on my phone and he's like, Jay, he sent me the clips. I'm not even going to try and do his accent, right? He's like, he sent me the clips. You know, I like the look of him, Jay. I really do. But, you know, let's put this in different contexts now. Imagine we go to Colombia. Let's say Colombia. And you're telling me you got the best gear in town. And he's like, you know, it's not that I don't trust you, because I like you and I believe you. So you go and get the package. You come back. I see it. I can feel it. But you know what? I can't smell it. I don't know if it's real. And what you're asking me is to take this player, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not tasting it. Jay, mate, I want to taste the cocaine.
That is top tier, man.
I'm there pissing myself laughing on this call, right? Because I'm just like, man. This is why you're a legend, yeah? Because these analogies are just too much, mate.
Gosh,
man actually drew for the cocaine one.
That is top.
So, yeah. Listen, we'll come back. We'll do more.
100%.
I really appreciate you, man, having me.
No, man, it's been a
that
blessing.
time has just flown by.
It has.
And just keep doing what you're doing, man.
No, I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Really
just to finish off, I was wondering, who do you think out of the players that you've represented is probably the biggest beyond footballer that goes beyond? They're succeeding in their football, but also they do other things alongside it.
Only go to one man, and that's my brother Christian Montano, man.
Okay.
That's my brother, you know.
Yeah.
What I love is that it's all about helping others at the detriment of his own, I guess not peace, because he does it to get peace, but he's revealing a lot of sensitive personal information to the world in order for people.
Was he the one at West Ham?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so he does a lot of mentoring and
all about mental health.
nice.
Always giving his free time to go and teach the kids. Even as I'm speaking now, I'm pretty sure he said he's training some kids in Scotland. That boy gives so much of his free time to help other people. And you know what I love? He doesn't put it out there. He doesn't, yeah? He just does it from the beauty of his heart. And we need more people like Chris. That's a real brave man, because you know what? Even I sitting on this podcast, there's things in my mind I'm thinking like, you know, do I want to reveal that? Because I am a private man. And I just really admire the strength and courage it takes to go on a platform and talk about your personal mental health issues. So yeah, without a doubt, Christian Montano. And then whilst I'm here, also Joe Thompson.
Yeah, big, yeah.
You know?
Especially what he's going through at the moment.
Listen,
what a great guy.
You see when, so I've got to just roll this in, but so my son is like heavily disabled, you know what I'm saying, as a rare condition, yeah, Isaiah Gordan, love you boy, yeah. Rare condition that only 50 children in the world are reported to have. And me personally going through the motions of that at that time was horrible, bro. Do you know what I mean? Horrible. And I just remember Joe, I was introduced through a friend, and you know, we basically did a charity football game because I was still working on sites at this time in construction project management. So I've done a charity game. We've done it for Bloodline, I think it was. And I raised money for my son's school, children with disabilities, whatever. But there was no second thinking in terms of like, oh, I'm going to be busy that day, or I can't, like, nah, man. It was like, I'm helping you with this. I'm going to take you to this place and get this sign top, and I'm going to be there to come down. And yeah, man, it's so sad what he's going through again, because that's, again, one of the genuine, real hearts out there, you know? And I can't thank them two enough for not what they have personally done for me, but what they do for the world, man. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, those two without a doubt.
Top. Wow, that's powerful, man. Well, thank you so much. We've got an agent today. We've had a parent, we've had a scout, and we've got the agent. So we're covering the whole holistic dynamic of a player, man. So really appreciate you coming on, man. I'm excited for this new journey you're about to go on in terms of going independent, launching your own thing, and really developing players and having that like elite mentality.
Yes. So, Forward Sports Group. Yeah, live and direct very soon.
Plug it, man. Plug it.
Come on.
Make sure you guys check that out. It's going to be obviously in the description. But yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. This one here is going to be part of the exclusive, man. I'm hearing from one of the top agents who's worked with some of the top players, top deals on how to actually get access and fulfill your potential, man. So make sure you guys check it out, man, and share it. Join us on this movement, man. Yeah, man. We're going beyond football.
We're
going
taking beyond you guys. Football. Yeah.
That's it, man.
And big up yourselves every time. Whilst we're just shutting down.
Gang, man.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Let's get the quick video.
Come on. We're out here on the Beyond Football podcast.
Yeah.
Jay Gordan, live and direct. Yeah. Come on.
Thank you for having me, boys. Yeah.
Peace and blessings, man.
No, that was live, boys.
Yeah.
That was live.
That was good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Top tier, man. It's unbelievable.
Appreciate it, man.